Secretary Lamb's presentation was so extraordinary. She really is an amazing leader in both city planning and development. Her sense of her comprehensiveness, her sense of the grand scale and the small scale is really just extraordinary. And I think for the benefit of the audience, and most importantly, I might just join her over at the table and pose one or two questions. And then I think open it up to questions from the audience, because I think most of you from New York know what city planning is working on now. There are many things that are similar to Hong Kong, but the countries and the cities are very different. And I'm just going to come over and engage the Secretary. So, Secretary Lam, as I say, I'm extraordinarily impressed by the scope of your work, and not only your identification of the problems that you face, but also the broad measures that you are taking to correct the aspects of Hong Kong which you want to make better, and to make a better city, which is, I think, what we do too. The thing that is hovering over all of us is, I think, what you called the economic tsunami, the financial tsunami. And because Hong Kong is so identified with growth and economic development as a financial center, and I was wondering can you talk to us a bit about how the economic situation might affect Hong Kong, which relies so much on economic development for its identity?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, we are not as hard hit as the Americans, because we have a very strong and robust financial system and banking system. Up till now, we don't have to spend a single dollar of taxpayers' money into our banks. But we are anticipating a very difficult time, because we all often said that there are four pillars in Hong Kong's economy. One is, of course, financial center. Second is logistics. Third is services, and fourth, tourism. And all of these four areas are going to be quite significantly affected by this economic tsunami. In terms of our logistics, our container port business, we are already seeing it being quite hard hit, because cargoes are not going through Hong Kong, because Americans are not buying or ordering from the mainland China. But fortunately, and that's why one of the broad directions for economic development is this enhanced relationship with the mainland. Fortunately, we have this huge hinterland in the mainland. In terms of tourism, at the moment, last year we took in 23 million tourists, and over half, in fact 60%, came from the mainland. And with the growth in the mainland, these visitors are very affluent, so they really come to Hong Kong to buy. So that keeps our retail, our shopping on a very healthy footing. So I'm not too pessimistic if we can continue to look to the mainland for this drive for economic growth. But having said that, there's already this feeling in Hong Kong that perhaps we have not done enough in diversifying Hong Kong's economy. In the last 10 years since the reunification, we've been talking a lot about diversifying our economy, going into creative industries, and so on and so on. But actually, whenever the economy is good, the stock markets are booming, the real estate market is booming, then people tend to forget about diversification. So I hope that this occasion, there's this saying, there's always a silver lining, that we should really grab this opportunity and to go into more diversified economic activities. And personally, I'm a fan of creative industries, because before taking up this job, I was actually in a home affairs, so dealing with culture and things like that. So I think creative industry is something that we should really work hard at. And on that front, again, we look to New York. Yesterday, we have a very successful conference bringing together the Chinese talents in culture and design, now working in New York, and to talk about the potential and the scope for Chinese arts and Chinese culture. So I really hope that all these talents of Chinese and Hong Kong origin, now all over the world, particularly in New York City, could go back to Hong Kong to help us to develop.
I think that there are many of us who would like to do that. I was wondering if there are questions from the audience for Secretary Lam. if you want to come up to the microphone and ask. Another question I would just ask the Secretary is, if you, I think it's fantastic that you've encouraged your Chief Executive to reclaim the harbor. How would you like to see the harbor look in 10 years?
Very simple. That's, the harbor front should be where people could readily access and enjoy. That's a very simple message that I have been taught over these years working with people on the harbor front. But that's a lot of work because we are not starting from scratch. The harbor is now very inaccessible because over the years it has taken on a very functional role, and we don't have that sort of guidelines to protect our harbor or to make our harbor accessible for members of the public. So I told the CE that I would not be able to accomplish much in your term on the harbor because you only got 3.5 years, and to do something that we have neglected for several decades is not readily possible, any short-term solution. But having visited New York this morning on the Battery Park, where you have this Clinton Castle, right? Castle Clinton, whatever they call it. I thought, oh, okay, we are not that bad. Even New York City has ignored the harbor for a while and started to do something about the New York harbor. So, as you rightly said, Amanda, I'm so struck by the similarities that we have, the problems we have, the challenges that we are facing, and so on. But I certainly feel that we should look elsewhere to find good examples. I was in Sydney, and I think the Sydney Harbour is something that has been done very well, and this is something that I'm sure we can learn from it.
Well, I think that, Carol, I think that our time is closing. I think that one of the most fantastic things to come out of this conference so far is the partnership and the understanding of our joint challenges, which are so similar, even though we have a different land mass, but focusing on sustainability, on the public realm, on the really qualities that make people want to live in cities and come to cities because that is the future of the world, can only make us a better place. And I want to have everybody join in applauding Secretary Lam and thank her for her participation in this conference.
If I may just do a little advertisement. Amanda has been invited to come over to Hong Kong to join a very important conference next month, towards the end of next month. That's to talk about urbanism and architecture, covering 4 cities. So it's New York, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and London. So if any of you pass by Hong Kong or you are able to make a special trip, then please get in touch with us. I'm very happy to enroll you onto that very important conference, which Amanda will share with a lot of distinguished speakers to speak. And I will take her position. I'll be the panel moderator on that particular occasion. So I welcome Amanda to Hong Kong. I welcome all of you in the audience to come to visit our city. Thank you very much again.